Potters love their gardens. Gardeners love their pots. Okay, chocolate and peanut butter. I am Jeffrey Rowe Kohut. This is my Potter's Journal. In today's video, we're going to make some strawberry jars. Okay, called strawberry jars? I don't know why. You don't usually plant strawberries in them. You can plant anything in them. Most commonly used for planting herbs. Okay, also chickens and hens. Here's one I borrowed, very poorly planted and looking pretty sad. This one made in a mold. We are going to make them on a potter's wheel, which seems to be the traditionally way it's been done forever. I've found and remember the nurseries being filled with them in greenhouses in the 70s, even into the 80s. I think most commonly and in numerous made by a Hewell's Pottery in the South. I've also caught that they've come from a Craven Pottery. More recently, I've got a little collection. This one with the barcode on, made in USA. And surprisingly, that's where they've been made. Not imported, not Mexico, not Japan. Okay, New England, Massachusetts. And here's one, if it wasn't broken down here, kind of ugly in the shape of it. The small ones, the adorable factor. Okay, if you're trying to hit a price point, but not a lot of room to grow anything. I made a few of these, I don't know, about 8 or so years ago. Glazed them. I didn't have any luck selling them, only made a few. Last year I did a huge series of flower pots and just a handful of the strawberry jars. But I did them in the traditional manner that they'd been made forever. Not glazed, not an interesting creative shape. But maybe, and here they are, a few of mine, they are an interesting creative shape that somehow, hand-thrown on a potter's wheel, they have the wasabi aesthetic to them. They have even though mine are much more refined than these, I've searched YouTube, and in the past, I didn't see anything on them. But in the past couple years, most commonly come from a Gabriel Nichols. But he makes big stuff, and he didn't show how to put the holes in. There's the secret. How do you make the holes in these things? Okay, let's see what's going on in the studio today. Then we'll come back, look at some plants, maybe talk about planting them. And these are all the tools we'll need. A punch, fettling knife, and a sponge. And you don't really even need those. They are cut off the bat, and I've got a few stacked up here, ready to punch the holes. Okay, so first we will punch some holes in here. And I am going to do, okay, 2 up high, 2 slots for plants up high, and 2 a little bit lower. On the 2-pound pots, it seemed like 3 openings evenly spaced round were right. With the 5-pound, it seems like 2, and then 2 again lower. Once we get up past 5 pounds, I think we'll go back to the 3. But 3 high, I'm sorry, 6, 3 high and 3 low. So this is easy doing the spacing because they're opposite. And if you haven't got the idea of what I'm doing yet, this is where the slot will be. I'm going to, okay, cut a little trough between the 2 holes. Now, if you just cut a slit with a knife, you can do the same thing, but on the shaping and the forming, it gives a rough edge. Or you could just cut a big circle in the side of this, and I've seen some that it looks like that's what they do, and just smooth it out. But we're not making 1 million, we're only making maybe 15 or 20. So we're going to put a little more time into it. And the truth is, it doesn't even seem like I should be showing you this or telling you this, because I scoured YouTube and could not find really anybody making a strawberry jar. Okay, I am taking a damp sponge and smoothing off the outside edges, and then we'll do the same on the inside. And this will be needed to be done again later too. I don't know that the potteries that once upon a time made millions of these or thousands of these did all the detail. But once again, okay, we are just making a few. So now we come to the putting a hole in. And not only did I hardly find anybody on YouTube making a strawberry jar, I did see maybe 2 or 3, I forget now. One was a student, or I mean a teacher, so I'm not sure, I don't remember the pot being much, because sometimes teachers are great for getting students started, but haven't made millions of pots. Okay, are we exaggerating with millions? Yes, we are. Okay, so opposite. And what I'm doing first is pushing in the top, so I can get my finger in there, and then pulling out the bottom. And as I pull out the bottom, I'm still pushing in the top. And this needs to be done gently. This is like putting a lid or a spout on a pitcher, or like the scalloped edges I put in the top of my flower pots. So, and then I'm coming back and cleaning up the rim, because it was a sharp cut, and by cleaning it up we smooth out that sharpness. I'm also going back and forth to make sure that we don't have any splits on the side, and then kind of round and about. And then I am giving the bottom, okay, an extra pull out, trying to extend maybe a little bit of it down there out. But I think the best example of throwing a strawberry jar was from Gabrielle Nichols. However, he didn't put the slots in them for the plants. He didn't show that part. So I almost feel like possibly this is a trade secret. This is something I should not be showing. I should not be showing how easy it is to take a simple vase and turn it into a strawberry jar. So, if you just happen to stumble upon me, okay, and you might want to see this again when maybe next year or next month you get around to making one, you probably better subscribe to keep track of me, because my videos are not much out there. I don't get a lot of views. And you may not find me again. You know, that's happened to me. I've seen some really great things on YouTube, thinking, oh wow, I've got to come back to this person. This is a potter who really knows what they're doing. They've got some experiences that others don't have, and never find them. These are 9 pounds of clay. This really surprised me. That the first ones were 2, and what were the second ones? 5. The adorable factor in the 2. The 5, I think, is what most people buy because they're maybe shopping price as opposed to size. But this, I think, is a good size, that you can get some dirt in there and allow space for some root run. But what surprised me is I kind of dreaded moving up in size to 9 pounds of clay. It's an awful lot to wedge and prepare. I made sure I used new clay. So basically it came right out of the bag, de-aired, and I only had to really give it a light wedge to line up the clay particles a little bit. And I could tell though that I didn't have all the clay evenly mixed, because it was a little wetter in spots and drier in spots, but that just gives the pieces some character. But surprised how easily it's through. It must have been the right consistency, the right, not too thick or wet and not too dry. Because I even did it on a day when I thought, oh, I'm too tired today, I better do this another day when I feel like I'm more up to it. But surprise, surprise. Now, I would like to do the 15-pound ones, but I think I've come to the end of the time I can really give flower pots this year. I've got to move on to the next season, to a 250th anniversary, and make pots specifically for that, and Slovene Fest. So, also because of the vase series I did, this is a good lead-in. If you're making vases, practice first on the flower pots, and then move up to the vases. So maybe I can somewhere fit in, and maybe do a run of maybe 3 or 5 of these, and make the nicest ones, the ones if I do have trouble with them at 15 pounds, into vases, and then if they have a little funny shape, as we saw in some of the commercial ones, do those as the strawberry jars. And now I do want you to see the color fired and how I stack. Now around the side I had stacks of smaller and stacks of smaller again, but it's how I stacked one inside the other on the big ones, and the spacer that we put in there. Okay, and here we go. This is what a lot of this kiln load was about, is the strawberry jars, chicken and hen jars, herb jars, whatever you want to put in them, whatever you want to call them. I fire terracotta to code 1 or 2, so it's a little higher than normal firings, and down in here we've got the orchid pots, which I don't think I'd mentioned those yet. And here they are. This is their place. They're at home in the greenhouse. How did I do, though, before we look at planting them and the tomatoes? This commercial one, some of them can be very architectural and lifeless. I do think that the handmade have that wabi-sabi aesthetic to them. The darker ones are mine. I find are a little higher than the normal terracotta. So we've got the small, the medium, and the large. So my biggest was 9 pounds. I was ready to move up to 15, but it's time to move on to other things in the pottery. And we do have to get our plants out. Now, Bunnyfoot Pottery, Kendall, she said to take the tomatoes off before you plant them to get better established roots. Well, that might be the case if you're planting them in a pack to remove the blossoms, but if you got them in great big gallon-sized pots, okay, I always like to have some big ones ready to go out. I was growing heirlooms before they were a fad in the late 80s, early 90s, a Belgian giant. I've grown pineapple tomatoes. I've grown chocolate cherry tomatoes. I've grown black crim, green zebra. Oh, all kinds of red round and yellow round. Okay, here's the very best tomato out there. That's what everybody's looking for. Well, that's not what you want. You want variety, something that's going to bloom and grow and have different flavor and mature at different times, or all at once, and have a salad with such a variety. It doesn't matter which one's best. They're all different. They're all good. But just the secret that not everybody knows. Here's what we got from Martha Stewart in one of her early videos. I'm sure she's updated that by now, but she was removing some of the dirt and compacting it so it could fit in that hole. Well, one way around that could be to get your parsley from a cell pack, and it's much smaller, but it still needs to be compact. That's not the way you do it. You fill the pot up with dirt to about here, and you bring it through the other way. You take the foliage, and we can actually give this a double fold over because it's flexible. And you bring it down in there, and get the plant in, and bring it out like that. That way there is no disruption to the roots. And pull all those leaves out. And if it is an herb and you break one, okay, that goes in today's salad. Okay, and then you fill it up with dirt a little higher, do the top ring, fill it a little higher, and you do the top. Okay, potting them up and filling them out with the plants will have to be for another video. Nobody wants to sit through more than 20 minutes of a pottery video. I will say quickly, the ugliest one I saw was plastic. And so iconic is the terracotta that it was fake plastic terracotta. Okay, stop back and see what's going on in the studio next week and growing in the garden and the greenhouse.